He is going to break his heart.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man with a cool one in his pig. Yeah, the armchair.
Howdy, hi. Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show. Mac McGee and Justin Waller riding shotgun with you on a beautiful Tuesday morning. Justin, how the hell are you, my friend?
Doing great, Mac. It's a beautiful day here. We actually cooled this morning. Humidity's backed off a little bit. So
weirdly too here. So in the mornings, I've gotten the habit of getting on the treadmill in the garage, and I open the doors up and open the first door. I was like, wait a minute, where's that stench of a hot breath that normally hits me in the face? You know what I mean? I was like, I open up the second door so I get some cross. I was like, whoa. I was like, it's not quite football season feeling yet, but it feels good. I don't want it to get too much like that because I really want to. I think I lost Justin for a second. I don't know what happened there. We'll see what happens. I don't know if you lost connection or what, but yeah, it was really strange in Florida to not be getting hit by the what is normally like a really, really hot, humid. You open the door and it's like you can still feel the hot air off the asphalt. I don't know why does he know that he's I don't know. All right. He might have an emergency. So
sorry, life emergency.
Okay.
6-year-old screaming bloody murder. Had to make sure everything was good. I apologize for that unprofessionalism.
I was afraid something happened to you. I was like, oh man, we've been bragging about we're losing weight. And then
I'm sitting here like, do I check it or do I not? Do I check it? Do I not? I was like, that's blood. I got to go.
I was like, man, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm over here talking to myself.
I just ran about a 6'2", 40, and I ain't tried that in a while, but man.
I wish I was 6'2" and 40. Or 6 foot and 240. I'd even take that. Okay. So really quick, diving into before it is, by the way, North Carolina State football day today. It is New York Giants football day today. We're going to talk about NBA free agency on the other side with Bobby. But Major League Baseball, Justin, before we get into a couple other topics real quick, Major League Baseball last night, the Mets lost. Javi Baez is already limping. Mets doing Mets type thing. I'm telling you, man, the team I'm more worried about is the Phillies. The Phillies have become like this rally team. They're kind of like a Braves team from a couple of years ago where they just seem like they always pull it out in the end, and they came back and rallied again against Washington. The Braves start a series against the St. Louis Cardinals tonight, which is huge. I think the Braves have to take 2 of 3, even though it's on the road. I was noticing, I get more into this in Braves country, but I was noticing the Braves are facing 3 lefties in a row. It's a good thing that we just got Duvall and Soler in those deals, because I think they could rake.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Anytime we get to play the Redbirds, I get excited, especially.
I can't believe we don't have my boy in the dugout anymore, man. Panda. Can they bring him back just to be like some kind of, they came with these phony titles. Can he be some kind of a advisory and just, the DH, the designated hugger, have him sitting in the back of we all know he wasn't hitting worth a lick after like very early May, but it's also hard for a fat guy like that to sit on the bench for days and days at a time. And every once in a while you go, hey, grab his stick. The bases are loaded, 2 outs, and we're down 3. It's up to you. Okay. He's like, wait a minute, dude. Let me get the cheese poofs off my shirt.
And I just had to bring up Inciarte, the release of him as well. I know the performance hasn't been there at the plate the past few years, but I don't know. He was the last. Ronald gives me some of it, but with him being out, just that rangy center fielder reminds me of the heydays of the 90s and the Braves run, and just the loaded outfield that they kept producing out there. So hopefully that's carried on with Ronald. Well, I definitely love the hitting. So
yeah,
maybe the Gold Gloves will follow.
I'll take the good with the bad. Maybe someone will sign Inciarte and give him a chance. I know that the Braves will take on the majority of that money if they do sign him, but I would like to see him continue to play because this guy's still a phenomenal center fielder. I'll tell you what, before he got banged up at the beginning of the year, he was starting to go the other way with the ball and was getting on base quite a bit and was reminding me of, what was it, 3-4 years ago when he had like 200 hits. And so I'm not saying he was going to get back to that pace, but I think he could still contribute off the bench for someone, especially someone who needs a glove in their outfield. There's got to be a team in the race that wants, because you know what, man, we could use a veteran. I would,
and I still don't concede that small ball team isn't the team to pick him up, because we've talked about it many times. You play small ball with Ender speed, and that's game changer there, especially with his glove in the outfield. But you just never saw that out of the Braves.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. He would be perfect in a place like Boston where they got the heavy hitters, but you need them for the defense in the 8th or 9th inning. He'd be perfect in Boston. Hell, he'd be perfect for the Yankees because they've got a lot of sluggers now, but they're all kind of built like you and me. That ball gets hit in the gap. You get it. You get it. It's closer
They're
to the
long
gap.
singles or dingers, baby. That's the only thing I play for.
You get it. No, you get it. When you get that ball, throw it back in the end. When you get that ball, it's like that's I would sign an Inciarte just for defensive purposes alone. I think it would make sense for a lot of teams. The Braves need more than that. They need offense, so that's why they were stuck with it. But anyways, moving on from that, the Carson Wentz thing, man, wow. So we hit the first quarter here in the Armchair Quarterbacks show. Justin, Carson Wentz, 5 to 12 weeks. What the hell kind of timeline is that? 5 to 12. So somewhere between a month and, oh, by the way, I might be out about 3 months. You normally see 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. You never see 5. I don't think I've ever seen 5 to 12 weeks. Is that the front office being coy?
Maybe after Manning and Luck, probably. A little coy, a little cautious there. Make sure they're 100% before they move forward, I guess. I don't really know. But yes, from your fantasy perspective, I understand why a lot of people are in an uproar. I'm not a owner of Carson Wentz in any of them. So
no, and I'm not even planning on owning him. I think that's a very deep league. Yeah. It was more so for the AFC South fans, because if they don't have Carson Wentz, they don't have anything else on their bench worth a hell, right? The Titans the Titans now become the odds-on favorite to win that division. If he's out 12 weeks, where are we? We're at the very beginning of August, excuse me. So that would take us into the beginning of November, right? Because he's in August, September, and October, November. Ooh.
I mean, it's not only for the Titans is it positive. I think we all agree the Texans will probably be the bottom of the barrel this year in the division. But let's say young Lawrence picks up a couple early W's and get some momentum and success. Who's to say that they can't have a good run and come and compete for this division? So, a little momentum there, and then you take the Colts out of the equation. You never know in that Jaguars-Titans series. I mean, I don't care what team's fielding what roster. I've seen crazy things happen in that matchup. So, what if that's a big boost for half the AFC South, I would say. And, Texans, there's a lot of questions with Watson, who's going to be there, whatnot. But I still think you've got some ironing out to do inside that locker room before we talk about them competing for a division title.
Okay, worst case scenario, let's say it's 12 weeks, right? And let's say it ends up being they said this injury could have gone back all the way to high school, by the way. That's the crazy thing. I'm sure Colts fans are like, you serious? They traded as bum goods, but according to Wentz, it goes back to high school, and I just finally just snapped on him. This is important information we would have liked to have had back in January when we made the trade, right? But this is where they're at. These are the first. I'm going to take you all the way to the end of October, and it's very key if it is the end of October as opposed to beforehand. They're going to start off with the Seahawks and the Rams at home, at the Titans, at the Dolphins, at the Ravens, at home against the Texans, at the 49ers, and then on Halloween, the Titans at home. So if it goes all the way into November, November 4th is the home against the Jets, and that is literally 12 weeks away. We would be talking about them already facing the Titans twice before Wentz ever hits the field. That's going to be an issue. And then, of course, they will have played, the Texans, but I mean, I
think that 5-12 has to do with what Eason does in the backfield there. I mean, if he can come in and salvage and manage some games and they sneak some W's, maybe you can take a longer approach if they're losing games. And how many divisional matchups do you have it in front of you? Do they have? And then I know they'll play the Titans till the end.
Titans twice.
But those are both at the end of the season, I believe. The Colts games are November 4th, or didn't you say October 31st? And what was the other one?
September's 26th. So for all intents and purposes, unless it's a really quick recovery, which would be the 5 weeks, he wouldn't be back for the first Titans game. If he makes it all the way to 12 weeks, he's going to miss. So all those games I named off, that's within the 12-week span.
Yeah, I wasn't separating out the AFC South.
So only the Texans and the Titans, they don't play the Jaguars until November, and then the very last game of the season.
All right, I had them inverted.
By the way, that's weird that the two of us are playing the. It's
usually the Titans and the Colts that finish up that way. That's what I had. It's been.
Well, it's just weird that we won't play them in November or December or January. That I say us because Joey on the Thursday show's a big Colts fan, and then Sean's kid's a Colts fan, so he has to quasi be a Colts fan kind of thing. So we got
that's the Wentz Lawrence showdown. I mean, you had to put it when they come back.
It's really strange that you don't play one of your division opponents in the month of November, December, or January. That is weird. That is just really strange how they're building the schedule. But the point is, if he doesn't come back till November, Justin, what's your best case scenario with Eason at quarterback?
Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, I think you'll see that 5-12 either grow or shrink depending on how they get out of the gate, especially since they do have some early divisional games. I was going to say if they weren't AFC games, I could see it probably.
If there's no Carson Wentz,
big deal.
If there's no Carson Wentz, they're 2-6, maybe 3-5. But I see. Look, they're going to start off with the Seahawks and the Rams. That's not an easy way out the gate, even though they're both at home. That is not easy out the gate. And then you got to go to the Titans and the Dolphins and the Ravens back to back to back. If he doesn't come back by one of those, dude, they could be 0-5. And then they're going to get the Texans at home. So you would expect them to, by then, I'd say Deshaun Watson's never land. He's either been suspended or he's been, or he's being put on the sideline so he doesn't get hurt so they can trade him. And then they got to go to the 49ers and finish with the Titans. That's in the 12-week span. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm panicking. I'm like, dude, you got to make a trade. You got to make a trade now. I don't know who there is to trade for, but damn it, can we get Jacoby Brissett back?
Oh, man. I've seen Eason in the back-to-back Hail Marys. I'm a little gun shy by the fella. So who's to say he doesn't come out and have some success?
Is Clipboard Jesus still available? Can they get him back? Can they get him on the sidelines? What's that guy? Probably about 60 by now.
I'd say so.
Oh my God. All right. Let's go ahead and dive into the North Carolina State Wolfpack. And I'll tell you what, this is a team, and I know you follow them, Justin. Used to live in that area. I know it's one of your favorite teams, which is why I held it for this day. But I don't think a lot of people realize this is going to be a good football team. I think that Devin Leary, and no, that's not Dennis Leary. I think Devin Leary is going to be. I mean, this team, Justin. I was reading up on them last night. I already had a good idea of what they had going on, but I think they're going to be impressive. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, the big question is going to be Leary coming off the leg break, the gruesome injury. I mean, he's healthy, should be good. Their quarterback from last year transferred to Middle Tennessee. So it's really his for the taking. And I just don't see that. I think they're going to come out and do the same things we saw in the early seasons prior to the injury. It's going to be a lot of opened up offense. And a lot of people that don't watch them don't realize that the defense doesn't get credit for what it does, because yes, it gave up 415 yards per game and 29 points, but what that stat doesn't show is how many hits and takeaways behind the line of scrimmage. That is an aggressive defense that returns a lot of starters, and I think they're going to cause some havoc this season. So having Leary there back, as long as he's completely healthy. Bailey Hockman was the transfer that went off to Middle Tennessee that I couldn't think of earlier, but Ben Finley will be the other option that they'll lean on if Leary is out. But I think Leary is 100% the guy, and as long as that leg's 100%, I think this is going to be an exciting year for him.
I think he transferred to Middle Tennessee because he knew that the handwriting was on the wall, and I'm not beating out Leary.
The leg injuries just make me, especially with mobile quarterbacks and running backs, they make me very cautious. And
I'll tell you what, I watched him on at the ACC media days. He's a big kid. Yeah. So I don't think he's frail by any means. I think he's a kid that just had an unfortunate injury, and if he can stay upright. They started all off on a Thursday night against Central Florida. South Florida. So that's a very winnable game. That's a Thursday night game. I think that's ACC Network, but I could be wrong on that. And then they got to go to Mississippi State. That's going to be a rough second game. It's winnable though. It's not like Mississippi State is a juggernaut at this point. And they got Furman, and then Clemson comes calling September 25th at home. That's going to be a huge game because NC State is being projected as the number 2 team in the Atlantic Division. So when you've got Clemson at home, you've got a shot. We all know Clemson's loaded, and they're bringing a bunch back, and they don't rebuild, they reload. We get that, but they've got a shot. And then they get Louisiana Tech at home, and then they're at BC. That's going to be a showdown. Those 2 quarterbacks, I'll be having that game circled. And Miami, they're at Miami. At home against Louisville, at Florida State, at Wake, at home against Syracuse, and at home against North Carolina. I'll put the over-under for you on NC State at... I like to do the halves, but it's hard to do this one because, all right, I'll say 7.5.
Oh, over.
I was going to make it 8.5, but I thought maybe
I'll still take over.
Okay. See, that was that's what I was on the fence for. Like,
I'm at 9. I put 3. I'm like you. Clemson at home gives you a chance, but I'm gonna put it as an L. I think they go to Florida State and win, but I got them inverted. I think they lose in Miami.
Yeah, I agree.
So, and then the all for nothing on the end, the North Carolina game is just, they have the defense that can shut down Carolina and wreak havoc.
They got 9 guys returning too on defense too, which is all, to me in college football, it's huge when you have these returning starters, especially on defense, because then they're no longer read and reacting, they're just reacting, right? And that's going to be, I'll tell you what, that North Carolina game could be a lot bigger than what we realize it today, sitting here on, what is it, August 3rd?
Yeah, that could be for all the marbles.
Yeah,
or a shot to the playoffs.
That's is my math right on that? Is that a Friday on what do you call it, Thanksgiving weekend? I think that might be a Friday. Let me double check that.
I'm not positive on that one while you pull it up. But yes, I have it coming down to that for the season. And I think winner of that game will go to the ACC championship.
It's a Friday. That's nice. Fun. That's fun. I'm glad they did that because we noticed earlier that they took away one of the SEC normal rivalries. What was it, Arkansas and LSU? That they don't do that anymore on Fridays. So that's fun that man, I love that. I love the fact they're doing that. I've said for years, I thought Florida State and Florida should play on Friday because you always get overshadowed by the Iron Bowl. Unless the 90s, you didn't have to worry about it. The 90s, Florida State and Florida was what the Iron Bowl wished they were, right? But ever since like late 2000s, the Iron Bowl has ruled the roost as far as what you watch on that weekend.
What's the SEC going to do about that? It just dawned on me. You've got Iron Bowl, but not only that, you're going to have the Red River rivalry that I hope they keep traditionally early in the season. But are you bringing back Texas A&M?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
some beef, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that's some beef.
Oh, you got to, man. You got. Not to mention the fact a lot of people don't realize this because I went. You know how you'll go down this rabbit hole of Twitter and you'll see a bunch of arguing. You're just eating popcorn. You're like, oh yeah, man, get him. No, wait a minute, you get him. Texas versus Arkansas beef. They were like, it's back, it's on. And I was doing this in this wormhole, and they were just going at each other. That's going to be a fun rivalry, and I hope they find a way to keep Bedlam together, though. Oklahoma State. That'll be a shame if that goes away. But I don't think Oklahoma State wants anything to do with them. Like once they're gone, they're going to be like good riddance. We don't want anything to do. You don't want to be in our conference. We're not going to do you any favors. I think it's a shame we're going to lose some rivalries, but we're going to regain some great ones.
Oh yeah,
because you're going to have the Southwestern if they do it like you and I want to do it, they're going to have the Southwestern Conference reborn, plus the state of Mississippi, and then the SEC is going to be like the true SEC, like it used to be. Get Missouri out of the East. What the hell was that about? Yeah, man, I'll tell you what. If we can get some of these rivalries to renew in the world of football by these power conferences, these super conferences, whatever you want to call them, I'm all for that.
I don't need other conferences if you can give me that. I mean, almost if you could just stack the ACC and Big Ten, we could put enough together there that we could have a huge monumental, a marquee. You could hit the windows noon, 2 and 7, and have all three of them hit with a marquee matchup every weekend.
The one thing we're missing is just, can we get Notre Dame in a conference? Because there would be some rivalries renewed or born. And I don't care if it's the ACC or the Big Ten. I think it would be weird to put them in the SEC. It's too far.
Yeah.
But the Big Ten is kind of like their neighborhood, realistically. But at the same token, they've been in the ACC for several years playing the other sports. So they've built up some rivalries there. But can we get them where they're consistently playing in a rivalry game, 3 or 4 rivalry games that mean something? I'm not talking about Notre Dame Stanford. It's a classic rivalry. No, it's not. No one watches it. I'm talking about, can we get Notre Dame Michigan if they go to the Big Ten? Notre Dame Penn State, right? Notre Dame Ohio State, forget about it. And then if you were to throw them in the ACC, Notre Dame Florida State, Notre Dame Clemson, Notre Dame Miami, the convicts versus the Catholics.
Oh, whoa.
Can we do it? Can we get it back?
Read my mind, buddy.
Oh my God. What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
Convicts versus Catholics, baby. That's a mic drop, buddy.
I'll tell you what, they put them back in the ACC. We'll make a bunch of those, our armchair version, convicts versus the Catholics.
Sounds great.
We'll get Will Banks and Crook on the scene on there wearing those t-shirts. All right, brother, we will see you Friday for Texas A&M Aggie Day. Gig 'em.
That's right, baby. See y'all. Have a safe week.
We'll be back in a flash with Bobby. We're going the NBA and the New York Football Giants when we come back.
Sit sharp.
I'm not playing your stupid game.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Stay locked in on Armchair Quarterbacks Radio. Always just moments away from the big play.
There's Cunningham. Dodges left and puts it way downfield for Fred Barnett, who has the catch. And the race is on. There are no flags. A 95-yard touchdown.
The ball just over the goal line of the Cowboys. Dorsett, single setback. Big opening for Tony Dorsett. Look out, he's got great speed. 99 yards and a half. Dorsett down the sideline. Stays in bounds. Can you believe that? 99.5-yard run, I think, is the longest run in the history of the league.
Here's Cunningham back to throw it and going deep, and he's got Moss, and there's the flag on the play, and Moss is
pass and it's in the end zone anyway. Touchdown. Just throw it as far as you can. Randy Moss is amazing. Randall Cunningham is amazing.
This year, choose a yogurt that's right for you. With 2 grams of sugar per 5.3 ounce serving, Too Good Greek yogurt is too good to be true. So Delicious dairy-free yogurt and Silk yogurt alternatives are delicious plant-based swaps you can enjoy by the spoon or add to recipes. Oikos 000 yogurt and Light and Fit yogurt are tasty, non-fat yogurt options. So many flavors, varieties, and possibilities. Elevate any recipe and your everyday with yogurt. Shop at Target.
Beat Yourself Up hotline.
Is this the Beat Yourself Up hotline?
Yes, sir. If you'd like to beat yourself up, this is the place to do it.
Okay, I'd like to beat myself up now, please.
Go right ahead when you're comfortable.
I am so stupid. I can't believe how stupid I am. What an idiot.
Are you beating yourself up for not getting the best sports talk show out there? Quit beating yourself up. Instead, listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks beat up the competition. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for sports talk here on the First Coast.
I have to do this to myself every year. When, oh, when will I learn?
You beat yourself up very well, sir.
Thanks. Why didn't I think of that?
Well,
why do I have to have somebody else tell me what to do?
Oh, sir.
When, oh, when will I ever have an original thought?
Armchair.
What's happening in sports? Find out when it happens. Get the CBS Sports app free in the Android Market and iTunes App Store.
Now, you kid, I know my wife cheats on me. Every time I come home, the parrot says, quick, out the window, you know? And my kids, they don't help either.
No good, huh?
No, my kids, they're real smart kids I got, you know.
Yeah.
But the other day I told my kid, I said, someday you'll have children of your own. He said, so will you. And my daughter, too, she's no bargain either, my daughter. You kidding? Well, she's been picked up so many times, she's starting to grow handles. Yeah, my daughter, they call her Federal Express, you know.
Why's that?
Yeah, when she goes to a guy's apartment, she absolutely positively has to be there over.
Good morning. Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks with Bobby the Kid. Bobby, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing much better. We're just 2 days away from the National Football League returning to action.
Mm-hmm.
You got plans to watch that game?
Absolutely. It's the first night of football.
Hall of Fame game, y'all, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. It's Steelers Cowboys in Canton, and then they're doing the induction, I believe, Saturday. So they a little different than they used to do. For years, it was the induction on Saturday and the game on Sunday night. And I think they have figured out that they get much better viewership if they put it on a Thursday. So it's starting early this year. I mean, August 5th. That is really early for it to start. And then you only get 3 games. And then there's going to be a big break from August 29th until September 9th. No football, no NFL football. They'll take a week off, week and a half off, and get ready for the opening night game, which is Thursday night. Bucks hosting the Cowboys on Thursday night. So that should be
a good game.
It should. It should be a lot of fun to see Dak Prescott back in action. Anxious to see him. And of course, you know, the unveiling of the championship banner. They've already given the rings out, so they already did their ring ceremony. And so there we have that. Before we get into the New York Football Giants, which everything pretty much is going to rely on the guy that's right to the right of my shoulder. The NBA free agency. Have you been intrigued by this at all, or is it there's the lack of stars just kind of making it blasé?
I'm certainly keeping up with it because, I mean, there's still a lot of players that'll have big impacts on teams that are going to or could be going to. But so far in this free agency, there hasn't been too many big moves. A lot of guys have re-signed really, and not a lot of splashes yet.
Yeah, the one that I guess the one big name would be Kawhi Leonard, but everyone expects him to resign.
Yeah. Kyle Lowry did go to the Heat, which is pretty big, but he's also getting up there in age. So
yeah, I don't know how big a deal it is when Kyle Lowry at 35 years old signs a deal with the Heat. They tried to splash it all over ESPN and get you hooked in and go, oh, look, they're bringing the band back together. Yeah, well, all right, well.
Yeah, they're still not any match for the Nets in my mind.
It's like going and seeing like the Rolling Stones now. You're like, man, I should have stayed at home and watched the DVD version of the 1982, in London concert. I shouldn't have went and seen them live. So Mike Conley stayed with the Jazz, but once again, like, people don't realize, man, these guys are long in the tooth. In the top 10, the only couple of guys that you would consider are big names that are young is John Collins and Kawhi Leonard. They're the only ones 30 and younger. Yeah,
and John Collins isn't really anything to go crazy over, truthfully.
No, he's not, and he's a restricted free agent. If he's going to get signed, he's going to be a sign and trade. I know our buddy Matt has been wanting him to get sent to the Celtics, but that just really comes down to what the Hawks want to do. So to me, it's lacked a lot of excitement in past years when you've had young stars, or the LeBron James is not a free agent. Anthony Davis is not a free agent. Most of your main stars are just not free agents. I thought the Alonzo Ball get for Chicago is a good get for them going forward. Eric Fournier going to the Knicks. I know Knicks fans are excited about that. I don't know how excited I would be if I was a Knicks fan. And then a couple of the other guys that are still out there that might have some interest. Andre Drummond's only 27 years old.
It feels like he's been in the league forever.
It does. If I swear, I mean, I'm starting to wonder if there was some like child labor laws broken. How the hell is he only 27? But he's only 27. He's a free agent. He's the best center out there on the free agent market. So that would be an interesting get. He didn't do a whole lot when he went over to LA, but there were a lot of factors in that. Danny Green, but hell, Danny Green's 34. So I don't know. There's some marquee names that people know, but I don't know if they're splashy signs. So I think you're going to see more of the same that you saw last year in the NBA, unless there's a major trade that
I think the only thing that could really turn things on its head is if Kawhi signs anywhere other than the Clippers.
Right. If Kawhi, but anyone that signs him, and this includes the Clippers,
we're going to have to wait a year.
You better not give him an opt-out after 2 years.
Yeah.
Because then what have you really signed? You got a sign of a promise of maybe in 2023 that he's back to normal. Maybe. If I'm signing Kawhi Leonard at 30 years old, that dude's giving me 3 or 4 years. And then he can have his little stupid opt-out or whatever. I'm not signing him for 4 years, but after 2 years, it's an opt-out, because essentially it just becomes a 2-year contract. Even Chris Paul opts out of his deal, but he opted right back in and got, look, he had a great year last year. I'm not signing 36-year-old, soon to be 37-year-old Chris Paul to a 4-year deal for $120 million. Are you out of your damn mind?
Yeah, he's going to be finishing that contract up when he's pushing 41. That's a gamble by the Suns. I don't know what the thought process was with that.
They're hoping they get a world title next year, and that's it.
I don't think they're going to be able to do it.
By the time that he gets halfway through that contract, he's going to start to deteriorate. He's going to be a guy off the bench.
Yeah.
You're going to pay him $30 million to be a guy off the bench. They're going to be trying to dump him somewhere. He's going to end up
somewhere, some rebuilding team.
Yeah, he'll end up back in OKC, or he'll be at the end of the Boston Celtic bench. Me and Matt will be going, remember when? Wouldn't have been nice to have him instead of Kyrie on that run. Anyways, I mean, I wish him well, but I think the Suns are nuts. I could see a 3-year deal, 4, because the last 2 years of the deal it's an absolute crapshoot. He'll probably have a good year next year. The year after that, 38, 39 years old. I know players play longer than they did before, but
not that long.
Oof. He's not Tom Brady.
No.
And Tom Brady wasn't playing point guard in the NBA. So, anyways, we'll move on from that. The New York Football Giants are on our docket today, and I'm excited to see what their season ends up being, because if you first of all, real quick on their draft, you got your boy Kadarius Toney, so tell me how he's going to be the next MVP of the NFL.
I love Kadarius Toney, and I think
you do.
I think he'll be a solid fit in that Giants offense. I do think they may have reached a little bit on. I think 20th overall for Toney may not have been the best. I think Bateman or Elijah Moore would have been a better pick there, but regardless, he's a Giant now. So I think he'll be good. I think he'll do well on the offense. He's kind of a Percy Harvin type of player. I think he'll carve himself out that role in the league. That's how I see it.
I think they had a pretty bad draft, to be honest with you. When I look at this across the board, Toney, and not that Toney's terrible, okay, good, but there were better options. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was a huge stretch. And then the second round, they get Aziz Ojulari out of the University of Georgia, who's good, but I don't know if he's a game changer.
That, and I think he fell as far as he did because he had concerns with his knee.
He did. He's been banged up his entire career. And then Aaron Robinson, the quarterback from Central Florida, 6 foot, 190 pounds. He's a good corner, but there are some questions about his ability to play press man. So, and then, that's about it. After that, you're talking about the drafted a running back out of Arizona, a linebacker out of northern Iowa. And I'm not going to even get into what the hell they did. I mean, there's no point of getting to Mr. Irrelevant. But free agency, I felt like that the Giants did pretty darn good. Kenny Golladay comes in, and I think that's been overshadowed. Adoree Jackson comes in, who's good. He's not by any means Deion Sanders, but Adoree Jackson's a very good corner. And in the right system, I think he can flourish. Ryan Anderson. This is a guy that helped the Washington football team be, in my opinion, the best defense in football last year. Mike Glennon's just a solid signing as their backup quarterback. Nothing great there. You just hope Jones can stay healthy. But I just felt like that they did a really good job. Even the guard that they signed from the Texans, what's his Fulton, they did a good job in free agency. I just think they did a piss poor job in the draft.
Yeah, I love what they did in free agency. And I love what they did to build up that secondary. It looks a lot better now.
Which is going to be huge because you're going to have Ryan Fitzpatrick added to the mix and Dak Prescott comes back. And then we don't know what we're going to get out of Jalen Hurts, but he's at least going to be exciting, right? I think he's going to be a poor man's Kyler Murray when it's all said and done. But
it's fair.
Still, it's better than Carson.
That's not really a bad thing, I wouldn't say.
Well, it depends on how poor that man is. If it's 300 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 TD a game, that's a very good Kyler Murray. He's running around like a mental patient, getting 75 yards a game, but he's throwing for 160 and 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown a game. That's not a good version. So that's going to be the biggest question mark of the NFC East to me is Jalen Hurts, because when NFL defensive coordinators have an offseason to get ready for you, you are no longer taking them by surprise. And he didn't play that well down the stretch last year. He played okay, but after the NFL saw him for a couple of weeks, they started coming up with defenses that were shaking him. Now he should be improving. I'm pulling for Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts, but he's a big question mark. But as far as the Giants are concerned, I don't think there's any bigger question mark in all of football than Daniel Jones and what he's going to look like. And this is what now his this will be his third year in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Jones drafted pretty high. He's outperformed Haskins, so at least ESPN can shut up about that.
Yeah.
But he better outperform a lot of people because he doesn't even have Colt McCoy to back him up this year. It's Mike Glennon, and if not that, Clayton Thorson. And if you know about Clayton Thorson, I'll give you a Wilkie button, because who the hell is Clayton Thorson?
Can't say I know either.
Someone's scrambling right now to Google him. So he is actually Clayton Thorson, 6'4", 225 pounds. Bet you didn't know that. There's always that one guy. Yeah, I've got his jersey actually. He's in my dynasty league. It's a deep dynasty league. 172 players on each roster. So their defense looks to be improved, and that's going to be the key to this offense, because if Daniel Jones has to come out and play catch up every damn game, I just don't think he's built for that. But if he has a healthy Saquon Barkley, and he has a solid defense, and he's got Kenny Golladay, and he still has Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. He adds Kadarius Toney to the mix. But I know he's considered a wide receiver, but I look at him as kind of like a wild card. Kadarius Toney to me reminds me a lot of what's the kid's name that was at Florida and went to Seattle and had the migraines, could never play because
Percy Harvin, right?
Percy Harvin. He's a poor man's Percy Harvin. And so, and hell, he could exceed Percy Harvin because Percy Harvin had such a short career.
Yeah.
Remember seeing him a few months ago talk about making a comeback? I haven't heard anything else about that.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh yeah, it was all over Twitter. He's making a comeback, and I'm getting in shape. And anyway, as far as I know, no one signed him. That's like, dude, pear is not a shape that we want. You can't leave the National Football League for 3-4 years. Come back. I'm back, baby. I'm back. But he's getting John Ross. A lot of people forget John Ross went to the Giants.
Yeah,
and he was highly talented when he was with the Bengals.
I just don't know how much play time he's going to get on that roster.
I don't either. I mean, you're talking about, hell, they got Pettis. They signed Pettis. That is a loaded receiving core.
Definitely.
And then is Evan Ingram ever going to do a damn thing?
I don't think he might not even start this year with them bringing in Kyle Rudolph. I know Kyle Rudolph is very old, but at the same time, he still has, I think he's a lot better than Evan Ingram.
Well, there's some belief that they're going to run a lot of 2 tight end sets. Maybe
interesting.
Maybe less fullback and more 2 tight end sets. So Ingram would be almost like an H-back. So if that happens, I can see them both on the field. But it's something about Kyle Rudolph too. I mean, just like we talked about with Chris Paul, he's like 60, man. Like you can't just keep. They got Kyle Rudolph so that when they get near the end zone, he's gonna vulture touchdowns. Everyone,
he's a good end zone player.
Yeah, anyone who has a New York Giant receiver or Saquon Barkley is gonna get pissed about 8 or 9 times this year because Rudolph is gonna be sitting in the end zone wide open for 1-yard TD. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, Saquon Barkley ran for 138 yards, and Kyle Rudolph outscored him with 3 touchdowns and 4 yards receiving. Are you serious? There's going to be a Sunday like that. But I think all in all, the Giants will be competitive. Now, how competitive remains to be seen. But let's go ahead and get into their schedule real quick, as they're obviously. Well, hold on a second. I hit the wrong button. I don't know where the hell I am. It took me straight to Thursday night's game. And that was it. I was like, really? No, I want more of a schedule than just what's going to happen Thursday night. All right. They're going to start off with the Broncos to start the season off. It is at home. They're at the Redskins, excuse me, or Washington football team, or the Guardian, whatever they're going to call themselves. They're at Washington, Falcons, at the Saints. Where are they at after those 4 games?
I think they'll drop a game to Washington, and I think I'll say they'll lose to the Saints. I think they can beat the Broncos and the Falcons. But I think the Saints offense with Jameis, he is a little bit of a concern, but I ultimately think it'll be too good for them. I think Washington's defense is just going to shut down Daniel Jones.
Okay, then we go to the Rams at home, the Panthers at home, both 1:00 kickoffs. So, and the reason why I always circle that is when the Rams, West Coast team's going to the East Coast on a 1:00 kickoff, buyer beware. Those are those weird games. Remember a couple of years ago when the Raiders got blown out at the Jets and everyone's like, what the hell just happened? Because man, they're groggy and they're like, oh, I need a cup of coffee. Go, coffee? It's halftime, you jackass. We're down by 17 points. Wait, what? So it's a real thing. People get jet lagged in these things. So you've got, I lost my place. At the Cowboys, at home against the Rams, at home against the Panthers. And at the Chiefs.
I think they'll drop 3 of those games. I think they'll drop them to the Cowboys, the Rams, and the Chiefs. I think they'll pick up a close win against the Panthers, but that's it in that stretch.
Okay. And so then Raiders at Bucks, at home against the Eagles, and at the Dolphins.
All right. I think they'll go, I'll say 3-1 in that stretch. All right, sorry.
They'll definitely beat the Raiders.
They'll beat the Raiders for sure. I don't trust that offense.
I just mentioned that the Raiders going east is always an issue.
Yeah.
They laid
that,
it
and I think they're
in Atlanta or somewhere last year. I forget where it was. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it! They did this last year." I'm gonna be going all in. The Giants are gonna be like 0-9. I'm gonna be like, "Give me the Giants money line." Okay, so you've got them going what in that stretch?
2-2. I'll have them beating the Raiders, and then I'll think they'll take one of the 2 games they play this year against the Eagles.
Okay. Okay. So I'm keeping up with mine too, but doing it a little different because I like to hear yours as I go through mine, and then I'll explain mine at the end. All right. Okay. So that leaves us with if my math is right, the last 5 games, which is at the Chargers, at home against the Cowboys, at the Eagles, at the Bears, and at home against the Washington football team.
I think they'll go 0-3 in that stretch in the first 3 games. I think the Chargers offense is going to be very good this year. I'm looking forward to watching them. I think they'll probably blow out the Giants. And then I think the Cowboys, I think they'll take the season series. I think they'll sweep. They'll lose their game against the Eagles as well. They'll go 1-1 against them. And then I think they'll pick up a win against the Bears. I think the Bears will probably be favored in that game, but ultimately I think it's going to be one of those games where it's just kind of an upset. I get that gut feeling about this one. And then I think Washington, they'll beat them probably with the playoff spot on the line. I think they'll go into that game with a lot more on the line. I think they'll win. So
where do you have them at the end there? Because you kind of confused me the way you laid that out. Is it 7-10, 8-9? Where do
I think it's 6-11.
Oh, 6-11. Okay. You got them a lot more wins than what you had.
Let's see. I gave them 1 against the Bears, 1 against the Eagles. Let's see. I gave them 1 against the Panthers.
You were 5-7 going into that last 5 games. So
and then they took 1 of those against the Bears, so 6-11.
So that's the only game you got. You have them winning is 1 out of the last 5.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood when you said that they'll go in against the Washington game in a playoff spot on the line.
Oh no, no, I think Washington will have a playoff spot on the line.
A little confusing. All right, so you've got them 6-11.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's about where I've got them. I got them going. I just don't know what to expect. I hope to hell I'm wrong. I like seeing the Giants do well. I wish they would go back to the 1980s helmet, but I've always kind of liked the Giants. And I love the NFC East when the Giants are doing well because it's usually a lot of fun, a lot of good rivalries. But Daniel Jones, he's not terrible, but he's a solid quarterback. But I think he's going to need a much better defense around him to be able to. And Saquon Barkley, that's an injury where if he doesn't come back 100% and ready to roll, that's going to affect them mightily at the beginning of the season. I've actually got them closer to about 5-12, but that is mainly because I just don't know if we're going to get a full year out of Saquon. But a lot of your games as you laid out, I don't have any beef about any of that. It's pretty much on the nose. That's a rough stretch to end the season, by the way, when 4 of your last 6 games are on the road and you're having to go to not only Miami, then you got to go all the way out to Los Angeles, then come back to the Cowboys, and then you're at the Eagles and you're at the Bears. In December, Philly and Chicago, it's terrible weather. And then
a lot of snow.
Finish it off against Washington. And Washington, I believe, is going to be playing for something at that point. So that's going to be a rough stretch.
Definitely.
Matt says it's Danny Dimes. Yeah, that's what he'll be getting paid after his rookie contract expires. That's what he'll be getting paid. He's going to be getting
backup money.
Let's go ahead and hit turn back time and our walk-offs here. All right. On this date, this is one that you don't expect to pop up. Baseball games on this date, 1923, they were all canceled following the death of the current president, Warren G. Harding, who died in office. So they did not play baseball that day. That kind of sets the precedent for all the other things that we've seen in our lifetime. They didn't play after 9/11, et cetera, et cetera. This was the first monumental thing that happened while baseball was at the height of its popularity. And so there you have that in 1923. Also on this date, huge day in the world of the Olympics, since we're in the middle of the Olympics. This date, 1936. You were just 3 or 4 years old then, weren't you? 1936, American sprinter Jesse Owens. Do you know who Jesse Owens is?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if the school teaching had really, I know it's gone to hell in a handbasket, but I was wondering if it just absolutely fell off a cliff. So you do know who Jesse Owens is. He wins the 100-meter fastest man in the world in front of Adolf Hitler in the famous Berlin Olympics. One of my favorite moments in the history of sport was Jesse Owens standing there getting to hear the national anthem with Hitler's ass having to watch him. And we all know what Hitler was about, and he was a Aryan nation, all that junk. Also in the state in 1941, Joe DiMaggio goes 0-4 against the Yankees, ending his 74 on base streak. This is the same year that he had done the 56 game hitting streak. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today.
A lot of stuff happened on that day, and we didn't even get up to 1950. All right, let's grab a dead guy. All right. Man, they love these cricket players. Let's go with Andres Gimeno. Ever heard of him?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, I didn't figure you would have. He won the French Open in 1972. Barcelona, Spain. Died in 2019. Had a long life. Was born in 1937. He was always in the conversation in men's tennis in the late 70s, early 80s. I barely remember him. I more came along with the John McEnroe era, but I would always hear his name. All right, let's go with someone who's still kicking, as far as we know, as of 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'll go with the guy you've probably heard of. I'm not sure. He's 40. No, is that right? He's only 41 years old? That can't be right. Tom Brady? Thought he was much older than 41, but according to this, he was 41.
I don't know. I haven't heard of that guy. I'm not sure who that is.
There's no, yeah, he's 43. They got the wrong year. Yeah. Okay. I was like, there's no way he's. Anyways, it's his birthday today, but they got the wrong year because 77. No, I'm sorry. That's my bad. He's 44 years old today. He's 44 years old. Okay. My bad. Early morning, bad math. My brain was scrambled and anyways, long story short, 44. I thought they had the wrong year. I was like, there's no way this guy's 41 years. He's 44 years old today. I knew he was older than 41 because they were making a big deal about how old he was in the Super Bowl. And I knew he was over 41 at that point.
Yeah.
44 years old. What do you think you will be doing? Will you still be the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl?
Will I?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
What about Ryan Lochte? Have you ever heard of Ryan Lochte?
Yeah, he's a swimmer, right?
Yeah, he was the famous swimmer that got in that scandal when he was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Lied about getting mugged.
Yep. He was just drunk at that bathroom.
Yeah. Do you also know what else about Ryan Lochte?
That's really all I know for.
This should come.
He's a good swimmer, but
this should come pretty easy for you. He's a guy who's caught lying. It's a scandal. He lied. Yep. He's a liar.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Florida Gator. All right, what's your walk-off for this?
There's a lot of good Florida swimmers, though. I'll say that. Florida's got a lot of good swimmers.
Florida's always been very good at swimming.
Yeah.
They've also been.
Yeah, I think that we've won a lot of medals this year.
They're good at swimming. They're good at lying. We all know. All right.
Whatever.
Whatever, man.
All right. My walk-off. Back to the Rays, 6:10 Central Time. They're playing the Mariners. Pretty close in record, 57-50 versus 64-43. So that should be a somewhat close game.
What the hell happened last night?
I'm not sure.
Did you watch the game?
I was keeping up with free agency pretty much all last night.
We got murdered last night by the Mariners. So on Monday mornings, we do a show at 10 Eastern, 9 your time. That is Tampa Bay Rays, New York Yankees, and Boston Red Sox. Okay, we do it once a week and lasts about a half hour, and we just get everyone caught up in the world of Red Sox, Yankees, and Rays. And so the Red Sox guy was missing this week. So me and the Yankee guy, we go on and on and on about how the Rays and the Yankees have got to go out there and they've got to have these great weeks. They're going to make headway, have a chance to, because Boston's got some tough games ahead of them. They got to make it play. And what happens? The Rays get smoked by the Mariners in Tampa, and the Yankees get drilled by the Baltimore Orioles with their brand new pitcher that they just made the trade for, Heaney, that came from the Angels, which I thought was a strange trade anyways. He gets drilled. and so I'm texting Angelo, the Yankee guy, and he can tell he's drunk. He's like, it's a fake season. I was like, I'm not doing a conversation with you, dude. You're hammered. But all I sent him a text was, I was like, and then because he knew what I was talking about, and I'm looking at the scoreboard, and I'm like, oh my god, they're just. Don't get me wrong, Seattle's good. Baltimore's terrible.
Yeah,
but
I know that.
It's so hot, and to be on top of the world, coming off their trades and beating the Marlins and and then the Baltimore Orioles kick your ass. My walk off for the day is remember we've got Take Me Out to the Ball Game. It'll be dropping in about 10 minutes, and Braves Country that'll be dropping in about a half an hour. I get you caught up in the world of sports. Take Me Out to the Ball Game. For those of y'all who haven't listened, it's a daily, about 10 minutes, get you caught up in the world of sports. And we began something today that I have not done in earnest. We're going to finish the show with this date in history, but take a really unique story, kind of do a deep dive. The one today is an absolute unbelievable story that if it was happening today in the world of sports, it would be all over the news for like 3 weeks. It happened about 100 years ago, a little more than 100 years ago. So tune in to Take Me Out to the Ball Game so you can catch that, because it is a crazy story. Great job, sir. We will see you next week, and maybe next week we'll start squeezing in some fantasy mock drafts while we're going over these teams. All right.
Sounds good to me.
Ain't nothing in the NBA is gonna happen anytime soon.
Not for a while, no.
All right, brother.
All right, have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another